of the crown, echoes of the sound, ashes of the past form the present, and the future is now. They can't wait till another goes down. I am the path of destruction, and I'm here right now.
From the studio at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Charlotte, this is Adrian Brown with As the Buckle Turns, episode 14. As usual, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for my previous episode. I know that wasn't necessarily the tone you're used to from me, but people, I think y'all seem to like conflict. I'd be doggone. That episode there, it was probably my quickest to double-digit downloads ever. And man, y'all some conflict-loving people, man, I swear. I appreciate every single bit of that. But I'd like to thank you all, as always, for everything you do for me here, and I'm going to keep doing what I can for you. So please, give a like, subscribe, share, follow all social media platforms and all podcasting platforms as well. That would be Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Tumblr, YouTube, wherever you can find As the Buckle Turns. Just Google it. You'll find it. As usual, we're in this together. I'm doing this for all of us. And, you know, like I said, just thank you all for everything that you've done for me so far. And I'm going to continue to try to put out quality content for you. And, you know, I think we've reached a turning point in this show. I think we're going to get better as a people. I'm going to get better as a podcaster, as I improve as a student here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And, you know, I really hope y'all can see me grow. And I really hope that each of us is going to, continue, like I said, continue sharing this everywhere you can. Because, like I said, I deeply am humbled at all this, and I appreciate every single bit of it. So, we're not going to address anything that happened in the last episode at all. I got that off my chest. I think I'm good for now. And I'm going to be good on that for a good little while. Unless, somebody decides to poke the bear, which is me, ever again. And if that happens, well, trust me, it's going to get addressed. No doubt about that. Because, honestly, like I said, I was never more comfortable than I was then. And I think I've reached a turning point in how I'm feeling, and I'm talking on this microphone right now. I think a lot of y'all can probably feel that out there as well, too. But before I get into everything today, I'm not even 100% sure where I'm going to go with this, honestly. But the one thing I need to go ahead and address is the great big, maybe not elephant in the room, but let's just go ahead and address the Anoa'i in the room, if you will. Joseph Leate Anoa'i, Joe Anoa'i, Roman Reigns. Stay up, my brother. Most of you who already know, ever since I recorded the last episode, Roman came out on Raw, announced he has leukemia. This will be my first time being able to address this. And, I had a cancer, leukemia especially. It's only hit my family once. I had a younger cousin. She was probably only like 4 years old. So didn't really get a chance to really know her all that well before she actually passed away from it. She was a wonderful kid. She had a lot of energy. She had a lot of spirit, but she never really got a chance to even live her life. That's the only time leukemia, I should say, has actually affected my family. But in a way, I can relate to him in a way on that. And, to know that, because he actually flat out said, probably he'd been coming out there for a year saying those things as Roman Reigns, if you will. And I'll get to that in a little bit as well. But, to think about everything, you think about everything from like October last year to October this year, all the things he went through. I made a little Twitter thread about this. So if he suddenly hinted at the fact that he'd been dealing with this for almost a year, you got to think about it. Around last year, it was around the time that, that took him, JoJo, Bray, and Bo Dallas out for a while. What are the mumps or whatever? I can't remember exactly the technical term for it. But somebody actually pointed out on Twitter, most likely, when that happened around that time, maybe they had found something in his blood work and maybe they didn't think it was all that serious. But in my opinion, I think it probably started progressing for a while. And to know he had beat this 11 years ago, which is probably what kept him from making a NFL or CFL roster for a while. That's a warrior right there, folks. we were witnessing greatness, and this guy who's just constantly getting put over on Twitter and things like that is a great locker room leader and everything like that. And it's just to know that he's been going through all these things, these make-a-wishes, these hard-fought matches, these, dealing with the media and all these things that the WWE sent him to. Roman Reigns is a stud. He's a star. He's a big-time guy. And, but you expect that from a guy like that. A guy with that type of pedigree, with that type of drive, with that type of upbringing, things like that. He was brought up in this business. He knew how to stay professional, which means he probably hid any little complications he was having for a good little while. And honestly, I got to give the man credit for that. I mean, like I said, to deal with something that's probably life-threatening for well over a year, and still just go out and do your job, do everything that's asked of you to the best of your ability, and make it look like nothing's bothering you. You're just shaking it all off. You're soaking in the love, you're soaking up the hate, brushing off the haters, the loudmouths on the dirt sheets in YouTube that constantly use you as fodder to get views and numbers and move the needle and things like that. And you're sitting there and you're just doing all that. It's like I said, you're making everybody believe in everything you're doing while you're hiding something. Like I said, I don't 100% know if he has been dealing with it for a year, but he kind of hinted at it in the promo when he had to lay the belt down. And like I said, that guy, like I said, I'm not like uber, 100% Roman Reigns bandwagon guy, but man, like I said, I really respect that guy because I respect his family. I've been watching his family for a long time because I've been watching this over 35 years off and on. Like I said, the Wild Samoans are part of my childhood. Alpha and Seeker, and they were part of that first generation of tag team wrestlers that I watched when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Watching Samu and Fatu as the Wild Samoans and things like that. Of course, watching The Rock and now transition all the way up here to Shawn Maluda and Nia Jax and things like that. That family is this business. That bloodline is this business. And yes, they all are family. Via Samoan blood ritual, they all are family. Maybe not by birth. Yeah, we know that. So stop with the minutia about they're all not really cousins and things like that. Yeah, they are. Miss me with the semantics, folks, that like to point out things like that just to be internet contrarians or tweet out something cool or something like that just because you think you know something. You don't know jack. Family. You don't get to say who's family and who's not. You don't get to do that. They are family. You can't tell them otherwise, and I sure won't. Like I said, like you probably realized in my last episode, family's a lot to me. And a family like that, I can respect. They always got each other's back. They respect their business. It's the family business. They respect it. And I respect them for the respect that they have for it. Like I said, and to get on this too, I understand a lot of people like to my ears are immediately blowing up. I already know what his haters are saying online. I already know what they're saying on their little YouTube shows. I already knew the moment it was going to happen. Certain people tweeting like, oh, I'm a fan of Joe Anoa'i now. Like I said, it was just so laughable to see all this stuff come across my timeline. It was hilarious. I'm just like the very same people putting him down about, his booking and his promos and things like that. Now all of a sudden they're all fans. And a lot of people's like, well, don't be negative. This is about Joe. This ain't about Roman. Bull crap. No matter how much you want to deny it, Joe is Roman. They used everything about Joe to define Roman. Heck, Joe used himself to define Roman, how he played him. Goodness, remember that time he wished his daughter a happy birthday in the ring? Last time I checked, that's Joe Anoa'i's kid. That ain't Roman Reigns' kid. Because they used every single aspect about Joe to define Roman. So when you're saying you're cool with Joe Anoa'i but not with Roman, like I said this in episode 12. Go back and listen to it if you haven't. Those of you who might stumble across this or don't remember. Like I said, everything they claim to not like about Roman is Joe. But little do they realize everything they claim to, respect about Joe, they used it to define Roman. I mean, you see how that logic works? You see how that all just kind of sort of fits together? And the thing is, I don't think they even realize that at times. Like I said, I don't buy it. I said it too. If you don't support somebody when they're at their best, and Roman was at the top of his game when he was doing his thing, you don't get to support them at their worst. Sounds a little petty. I really don't care. Like I said, I don't buy it. That man did nothing to be booed. He did nothing to be hated. Nothing except do his job. And that's why they always just constantly, well, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about his booking, not about him. Still, you could have just threw the guy a little bit of a bone at times. And you know what I'm saying? I was like, he don't need your prayers. You spend all that time bashing him, and as much as you claim you're bashing Vince rather than him, I'm sorry. You get no love here on this podcast. As you all know, I don't like phony. And I'll call out phony for what it is. Because he don't need your fake love. And I'll constantly, like I said, you're going to get that here on this podcast. Like I said, I put that guy over constantly. Like I said, he can get love. Like I said, but when I sit there and I see people that sit there and they're just get on the get well soon Roman bandwagon after all they done was, hashtag fire Roman and stuff like that. You don't get to do that. I ain't going to allow it. You don't deserve it. Clap, 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 clap. You don't deserve it. Not on my watch, you don't. I mean, I understand in the end we all probably do wish him a speedy recovery. We all want him to get better in the end, but like I said, it just makes no sense to me that you're going to sit there for years and years and years and use that guy's name to build your brand, to use your hate of him to grow your viewership, to grow your listenership and all that good stuff. And now think about it too. Your cash cow's gone now. How entertaining is a lot of these guys' shows going to be now that they ain't got him there to pick at all the time and mask it behind the fact that they're talking about his booking and Vince McMahon rather than talking about him, when really and truly they know what it is. Quote, somebody they did not like is getting something that somebody they prefer, somebody they do like to be having. They want somebody else in that spot. Well, guess what? I'm afraid to inform a lot of you guys on this. Somebody you probably like still ain't gonna get that spot. What, you think Daniel Bryan's coming back to Raw now? Cause we find out he ain't going somewhere else. We'll get to that in a bit too. But come on, man. What, he gonna get traded to Raw? He gonna get that spot? What, you think Seth Rollins gonna get it now? No, he's probably gonna have his hands full too. We'll get to that in a second as well. Oh, I know. Drew. Yeah, because for some reason, y'all probably hated him back in the day, but all of a sudden, just because he came back from the Indies and went to NXT, and he went through the, quote, process there and won the title, y'all can accept him now, can't you? Even though you couldn't accept him then. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant on those idiots. Y'all know who they are. Trust me, they don't deserve this. I mean, I'm not going to let them off the hook ever. Not at all. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if they claim, they've been affected by cancer in their lives too. I don't care. And I know we got to keep wrestling and real life separate at times, but give me a break, man. Just give me an absolute break. Like I said, I'm not going to buy it. You're not going to fool me. You don't deserve it. And after the how heartfelt speech that he gave, talking about how he was basically homeless, he had a kid on the way and things like that. Like I said, you really felt for that man when he was standing there and it was over. And it was so cool too when you're sitting there, you're watching. There were a few boos that were still coming, but it was a fairly, when they saw him in the street clothes, I think they knew something was about to go down. But for the most part, the boos weren't as loud as they normally were on that episode. But you could tell when they started booing, he had a little wry smile on his face. He was like, dang, I'm going to miss this. Man, you could just see it just washed over him. It was just incredible. And then, like I said, it's just one of those things when real life hits entertainment. And then he goes up the ramp, hugs his brother. Seth is literally in tears. That lets you know he held this back from a lot of people. Seth was literally in legit tears. You know what I'm saying? And people like to say, well, does he have real cancer or does he have wrestling cancer? If you think this was a work, I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, either delete your fandom or just please just go jump off a cliff somewhere or something like that, man. God, that is so pathetic. I mean, yeah, people are like, oh, he just didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, y'all people are just so sad. Such sad human beings, man. They're just some nuts in this world. Who in the world says things like this? If it turns out that is the case, whatever. But at the moment, come on. You don't make an announcement like that. Flat out give up your livelihood in the middle of the ring. Leave that belt like that. That is symbolic. I mean, come on. I mean, what did you expect him to do? You know, if it was a work, he probably would have gone up there and just speared Dean and Seth when they came out there and, and hugged them. But that didn't happen. I mean, he's been gone for a while. I mean, because I'm sad people in this world. And it kind of makes me angry, but I'm not going to let it out like that. That man did nothing to deserve the hatred he got, and every single bit of the love he gets, part of it's phony, but majority of it's real. And he deserves all of that real stuff. Like I said, Joe Anoa'i, I wish you all the best, man. I really do. And the one thing I was going to get to about Seth is, most of you probably know at the end of the episode, some people were complaining about this, but honestly, I think it was cool. Dean Ambrose finally does turn heel. It was teased. You knew it was coming. It wasn't as obvious as when Seth, turned his back on both Dean and Roman. But you kind of knew it was happening. But what better time would it have been? I mean, on a night like that? No, that was the perfect night to do it. Because it was actually something that the WWE did it unexpected. They actually did something right that time. So give them credit for actually doing something right. But people are now even complaining about that. I mean, that's even, like I said, I don't understand. What do you people want? They give you something different. You complain about something different. It's the same old thing from you people. That is grossly annoying. I mean, you make me want to puke sometimes with the way you, like I said, this entitlement that you come up with a lot of times. I'm like, because you think you can write the show better. Or you think you can book the show better. I'm sorry. Till you get hired there, you're, like I said, you're just full of it for now. I mean, so kudos to them for actually doing something like that. That actually, got a pop. That made people remember something. You remember something at the top of the show. You remember something at the bottom of the show. And that's that. You gotta, you know what I'm saying. And that's perfectly written. That's something you should do every single time. The show should open hot. In a way, even though it was kind of somber with the way Roman had to open up with his announcement, but it closed on fire. It closed really, really hot. Closing with heat is something you should do every single week. But I think even Vince McMahon has forgotten that formula. But let's be honest, he's kind of forgotten that formula ever since his main writer left, and y'all know who that was. Because being able to write a show is something that's lost now. Booking a show is one thing. Booking is just like I say plenty of times online. I tweet this all the time. I post this all the time. Booking is just saying, okay, you're here, you're wrestling each other. Okay, you two are tagging each other against those two. That's booking. Writing is making sure the show is written correctly. No matches go into commercial break. You go, like you tease things going into commercial break. You come out of the commercial break hot. You open the show hot. You make sure the show goes off with something memorable, so you won't making people tune into it the next week. That's writing, and that's just a lost art form right now. Impact's trying. It really is. Lucha Underground does a decent job of it, but like I said, I'm a Vince McMahon dude. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we know he's having issues. We know that he's kind of lost touch with some things, but at the same time, when he does the good stuff, it's really good. But as we've seen in the ratings, when things are bad, they're really bad. So anyway, take care of Joe. We'll miss you. Come back as soon. Matter of fact, don't even come back soon. Come back when you're ready. I don't care if you come back as a heel. I don't care if you come back as a babyface. Just come back. to show people you can beat this and continue your dreams. That's more important than anything. Making sure you beat it again. You're a defensive tackle, you sack quarterback, sack this cancer. Drag it to the ground and do your best sack dance when it's over, bro. Hang loose. Anoa'i strong. Well. It finally happened. The first ever all-women's pay-per-view in WWE history, Evolution, happened this past Sunday. And man, I'm like I said, I haven't actually watched the entire event yet. You know me, I'll be honest with you, I don't have enough time these days to watch things on the network like I did before. So a lot of times I just catch things and highlight packages on YouTube and things like that. So props to the people that put those things together. I don't share those videos because I don't want their channels to get shut down. Yeah, I'm going to put that stuff over on this podcast. I don't care if you like it or not. WWE, if you listen to this. Those people, they do that. They help people like me out. Okay, those people, they do good work on those videos. And you know what? I'm going to put them over. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. So putting those packages together, they help out somebody like me a little bit. And honestly, I don't care. Again, and like this is going to be another shot at those people that like to run their mouths on YouTube and on podcasts and things like that. I don't care if you didn't think it was a 100% evolution. You know what? You couldn't have gotten it in the first place. So how about you be satisfied sometimes with what you actually got? You feel me? Be sad. Can you at least sometimes be happy? Like I said, you couldn't have gotten it at all. It reminds me of those people who complained about UFC 200. Like I said, after John Jones had popped positive, and like I said, and Daniel Cormier was probably not even going to have an opponent. And Anderson Silva, the great Anderson Silva, stepped up himself. He stepped up and fought Daniel Cormier, and knowing the guy was probably way bigger than him. And people were still complaining about the fight because it wasn't epic. Okay, it wasn't a title fight anymore because Anderson wasn't a top contender. Number one, you know what I'm saying? And number two, like I said, again, it was on short notice. You couldn't have gotten that fight at all. When are you ever going to see Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva ever again? Side MMA rant again. Y'all notice what I do here? Come on now. I blend all that stuff together. I'm just like, you could have not had it at all. You actually got something. And now you're complaining that you got it. You're not complaining that you got it. You're complaining about the value of what you got. Okay, I'm going to run down this card. No, it probably wasn't like record breaking or anything like. You're just like, holy crap, I got to tune in there. But like I said, these people that I've said before in the Devolution episode, they're constantly wanting to put all this stuff over. They're constantly wanting to elevate women's wrestling. You're getting something that you actually asked for. And here it is right in your face, and you're still complaining about what you got. Who does that? Seriously, who does this, man? Let's run this down. You get a returning Lita and Trish, Team Bestie. You know, facing off against who they wrestle? Alicia Fox and one of Trish's greatest rivals, Mickie James. Come on, you got a chance to see Mickie versus Trish in the ring again. Be happy. Come on, folks, be happy. Okay, you got the Riot Squad. Sarah Ruby and Liv. Taking on Sasha Bailey and Natty. Come on, those are 6 women a lot of you respect. And they got to be in a match together. Sasha Banks' botches aside, the match wasn't horrible. I don't think any of the matches that night were horrible. I really don't. I don't have many notes in front of me. I'm trying to remember most of it off the top of my head, so y'all just cut me some slack here for a minute. Who else did you have? You also had a nice little battle royal with a lot of, divas from yesteryear. And yes, I still say divas because those women were divas. Diva still ain't a bad word here on this show. Because I'm going to say diva all the time. Divas ain't dead to me. You had the finals of the Mae Young Classic. I mean, what better place to have that than just some throwaway, event on the network on an NXT show. You had the NXT Women's Championship match. A lot of people were complaining about the finish of that, but I'll get to that in a second. You had both women's championships, Raw and SmackDown, on the line that night. So, like I said, majority of your top talent, they were all on display. Everything you wanted was there. Every single bit of it, everything was there. But all I've heard now, like I said, even before what happened, a lot of people were just saying, I'm just like, they were all complaining, it's like, well, how do you expect us to get into this? When, you haven't even really fully announced the card and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fools, y'all sold out all in less than an hour without even knowing a card. Think about that. You can sell out a glorified, the hugest indie show ever, but you can't sell out something that involves just 100% women. Two things that you people put over to the moon. You can't, like I said, you don't sit there, like I said, you won't, so just because of the WWE, you hold them to a higher standard. Isn't that correct? That's the one thing you won't admit. You expect more out of the WWE. You don't expect very much out of, the Bullet Club to put on an event a certain way, obviously. You hold Vince McMahon to a much higher standard. Ooh, isn't that fascinating? But anyway, just to run over the results, and just from some things that I saw from that, I mean, like I said, of course we knew Sasha, Bayley, and Natty were going to go over on the Riot Squad, because the Riot Squad basically were kicking their butts all the previous, build up to the show, which is how it's supposed to be done. The heels constantly go over to the lead up. The baby faces only go over at the big show. That's how things are supposed to go. The babyface isn't supposed to win 100% clean, 100% all the time. And that's what a lot of you want. Can you believe how boring that sounds? Because I'm thinking about, it sickens me to even think about that. Yay, the babyface won again. Woohoo. Nah, come on, man. The Riot Squad kept going over and going over and going over all 3 times. Ruby Riott beat all 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. All by herself. Well, a little interference here and there leading up to the show, but whatever. But guess what? The heels went down. The baby faces went over. As it should be. If you're going to do traditionalist booking. You feel me? And that's just what it is. Team Bestie, of course, goes over on Alicia Fox and Mickie James. Alexa Bliss is still hurt, if I'm not mistaken, so she couldn't be in it. Because honestly, I'm not sure how that match would have been booked or how it would have gotten over if Alexa Bliss was actually in the match, considering how much of a heater she is when she's talking trash about the old school divas. Like I said, that girl right there, like I said, she is a 100% excellent performer. And a lot of people don't give her the credit she deserves because too many fans online are making accounts about her body parts. Which again, as I've said before, I don't really care. It's okay to say that a woman's attractive. Said that before too. I will put over attractive women here all the time. You'll never hear me not do such. But again, Lita and Trish go over. Lita and Trish, they're still in fantastic shape. I mean, just look at them. They constantly work. I'm not sure if they're in 100% ring condition, which is why I don't understand why a lot of people believe Sasha and Trish would be some sort of weird dream match. Because honestly, you see what Sasha does to herself. You think Trish can handle her wrestling that woman one-on-one? Trish would lose her freaking mind with some of the spots Sasha won't want to be laying out for her. Trust me, none of these girls on Trish's level either. Trish is one of the best of all time when it comes to the women. She ain't up there with my girl Medusa, but whatever. She's pretty high. Because honestly, she's one of the full packages. Now, a lot of women that you could say that about. But anyway, not getting off track there. But I mean, I'm watching the match. They're handling the spots they can handle at their ages and as long as they've been out of the ring. But like I said, Trisha's a fitness guru. She's constantly dieting and eating right, even after having children. She's out there moving wonderfully. I mean, Lita's always in shape. She's always, what I'm saying, she was on Tough Enough training these girls and things like that. She's probably at the Performance Center a lot of time giving those girls, helping Sarah Del Rey and things like that. So she still knows what she's doing. Timing is always going to be off when you're out of the ring that long and things like that. But, give them props. A lot of shenanigans on in the Battle Royal, but the way the WWE books Royal Rumbles, Battle Royals and things like that these days, you can expect that. So there's gonna be some weird stuff, Tamina and Nia with their tribute to Roman with the ooh-ah taunt, Carmella with her dance break and Ivory joining in. Ivory still looks fantastic. Ivory's a bad woman. I mean, seriously, that woman is still, she's always going to be in fantastic. She's been in fantastic shape since her Glow days. I mean, Lisa, she's always going to be great. Michelle McCool, Tori Wilson. And I hate that no matter how much she keeps showing up to WWE, they're still just going to call Medusa Alundra Blaze. That's Medusa, folks. I mean, come on. When she threw that belt in the trash, she's like, my name is Medusa. Stop calling her Alundra Blaze, please. Burn Alundra Blaze. I don't want to hear that name mentioned ever again. I wish they would just let her do a little spot on TV where she burns Alundra Blaze's gear. It's like, my name is Medusa. Enough of this. But that's just something that bothers me, whatever. But not to bother you with all that, Nia ends up going over. And for some reason, this is another one of those little moments where the WWE doesn't give the fans what they want. I really don't care. Nia's a beast. People still like the woman. And it came down to her and Ember Moon. Everybody's chanting Ember's name. They really wanted her to win. It was another one of those little situations where they decide they try to hijack the show and try to bend it to their will. I'm sorry. Nia never got her rematch anyway against Ronda. She never did. She never got her rematch for the title. Or should I say, no, not against Ronda. That's right. Alexa Bliss cast in on her that same night at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view when she was wrestling Ronda. So Nia never got a rematch anyway. So honestly, she's probably well overdue for this anyway. But a lot of times people get a little annoyed when it comes to bigger people winning battle royals. I don't think bigger people win battle royals enough, because a lot of times what ends up happening is you gang up on the big person, the big guy, the big woman. That is so predictable for me. You know what? Sometimes let's just have the big person win. Let's just have somebody who's just huge and dominant actually throw everybody over the top rope and say, F this. I'm the biggest, baddest person in here. This is my ring. You all out. Sometimes I don't mind seeing that, folks. Let the big dude or big woman go over. And a lot of people complain about that too. Somebody was like, this is going backwards. This ain't an evolution. Fools. Last time I checked, Nia is just as new as Ember Moon. She's just as new as Asuka. Asuka and Nia Jax started training in NXT about the same time. Yeah, I know Asuka's the experienced person technically, but come on. You act like Nia's been on the roster for 10 years like Natty or something like that. Last time I checked, Nia is just as new as everybody that y'all want to be keeping putting over. I'm just it's just like I said, it's just this whole thing about not liking homegrown talent, not liking people with a pedigree, because they're always going to seem like they're getting more than they deserve, and the people you think deserve more aren't getting enough of what you think they deserve. Complain, whine, bitch, and complain. Give me a break, folks. Jeez. Toni Storm wins the Mae Young Classic. Holy crap, a Japanese person didn't win. I was actually shocked. I'm just like, considering the reaction Lo Shirai got in that doggone, introductions, I'm just like, oh great, here we go again. And this is something I wanted to get into before. I'm going to bring this up real quick. All I said one time was, I saw the reaction she had gotten being introduced as the last person in the Mae Young Classic. I'm just like, I put this out on Twitter when I think it was like Total Diva episodes on their Twitter account. And I just flat out asked, I'm just like, why can't we as Americans pop like this for American wrestlers? And immediately I just get attacked and I get called a racist. I get told again, I don't know anything about wrestling. You should watch Joshi in Japan and things like that. I mean, this dude, he's like, because she can moonsault over a walkway, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I can find any gymnast off the street and do backflips. And then people are like, well, maybe because American wrestlers aren't as good as the Japanese wrestlers and things like that. I'm just like, I'm like, these people are like, and I thought about it. There are these people like in this country here in America sometimes that'll like be going to one college. But here's the thing, for some reason they call themselves fans of another college. And what it reminds me a lot of time, I remember it was like say if your football team isn't that good, but your basketball team's good. But you're just like, well, I root for that school's football team because our football team sucks. Well, you know what you should do? Maybe if you actually, showed up to some games and supported your team, maybe they'll get better. Maybe they feel like when they see empty stands, they feel like, well, we ain't got to put our best effort forth. That's how I feel about that sometimes with these people. It's just like, well, you think your American wrestlers suck. Well, why would they bother getting better performing for you if you think they suck? And here's the thing. All because I ask why can't we pop like that as Americans for American wrestlers, I'm racist all of a sudden? I didn't say I don't like Japanese women or Japanese wrestlers, period. I just simply asked a simple question. I saw that reaction. It was the same thing with Kairi Sane from the previous Mae Young Classic. I'm just like I know who these women are, but I'm just like, I'm more excited to see our women. But they're more excited in that Full Sail arena to see people who don't speak English, and 2, don't even wrestle here. And the only way you can see them is on highlights on YouTube or go to some virus-infected website and watch them. So again, I was absolutely shocked when Lo didn't win and Toni Storm actually won. I mean, Toni Storm's a stud. She really is. She's a dang good wrestler. I mean, I watched her in Shimmer and things like that. You know, I mean, she killed it at Shimmer 100. And I was watching that at WrestleMania weekend earlier this year. And it's just, I know who Toni is. She's an excellent performer. She has a decent look about her and everything. But, again, I don't think there's nothing 100% special about her. I really don't. Because just, like I said before, just like a lot of these women, a lot of them are the same. And she fits into that category as well. Not necessarily wanting to be like a star, but just wanting to be, a great wrestler, showing off her athleticism and things like that. Trust me, she's dang good, but I don't know, it doesn't move the needle for me. And Shayna Baszler beats Kairi Sane. I think this is their 3rd match they've had against each other. So Shayna wins the series now. She wins the NXT Women's title from her, with a little bit of help from her other 2 trainee 4 horsewomen. I mean, as we know, it's Shayna, Jessamine, Ronda, and I cannot remember the 4th girl's name right now. That's the MMA 4 horsewomen. And honestly, I'm actually disappointed the fact that that'll transition to the next match. I'm actually kind of disappointed that Charlotte and Becky are wrestling each other right now, because I was actually hoping that eventually we get like a 4-on-4 horsewomen versus horsewomen match at Survivor Series in some way, because I'm sure those women, those 2 that are still training NXT, I'm pretty sure they're picking it up fairly fast. Again, natural combat acumen is going to translate well into professional wrestling. We've seen that plenty of times before, but I'm not sure where they're going to be leading to it, because now since those 2, and a lot of people were complaining about the finish of that match as well, because they're like, and this is hilarious. Again, another case of people thinking that these 2 things are separate. They're like, well, that was such a WWE finish for an NXT match. And it's just like, why do we even bother saying that WWE and NXT are the same thing anymore? I don't even bother saying it anymore, man. These people swear they've got it locked in that they're 2 separate things, and NXT's better, and it's the it's the end all be all. I give up. Let them have it. Yeah, her teammates interfered and helped her win. Big deal. It's heat. It gets them on TV in a big event like that. I mean, they're women too. They deserve to be there. They're part of the evolution as well. MMA women transitioning into wrestling. That's a big thing. Nice little spot too after the show with Kairi, coming up, holding her arm, dragging herself from the depths and things like that, trying to challenge, saying, like, this ain't over, basically in Japanese. Shayna's like, I win, you lose, go away. I'm like, with her teammates behind her, got her back still, and Kairi still, got the warrior spirit going, trying to come up to all 3 of them. Hilarious stuff. Good, nice little shot. And last woman standing match, Becky retains the title against Charlotte. I mean, those 2 killed it. I mean, what can you say? I mean, they've been working together since NXT. They're kind of, I don't care if you put any of those 4 horsewomen together in any combination, either it's all 4 of them, 3 of them, 1-on-1, doesn't matter. They're gonna bring it. They're gonna put it on every single time. And those 2, that's probably the best match involving any of them since their fatal 4-way back in NXT. Becky retains the title with the very move that took the title from her when Alexa Bliss took it from her. So, good storytelling right there. And I'm gonna get into this probably in another episode. I'm gonna just throw a little nugget out there for you people right now that are loving what Becky Lynch is doing right now. I absolutely hate it, because here's the thing: a lot of you refuse to boo her because you want to know why. She's done nothing to change about herself at all. She's still the exact same person, period. She still has the same hair color. Only thing she's done is just change her backstage tactics and things like that. She's constantly jumping Charlotte. She has a scowl on her face. Honestly, she should probably change her hair to black. She should change her whole ring gear, her whole outside of wrestling presence. Like I said, if you're going through a character change, just changing your face to a scowl, that ain't changing your character. You still kind of talk the same and everything. I'm just like, what's the difference here? Ooh, you make mean faces now, and you're super sarcastic. Big deal. I don't see any difference in her, and y'all can keep putting her over all you want to. I'm just not seeing it. Know what your orientation is and execute it. We'll get into that another day. And finally, the final match, the match that put the nail in the coffin for Divas for good. Ronda beats basically both Bellas. And, and I understand if you listen to that, that's not necessarily it doesn't sound like, oh, that wasn't the most groundbreaking of show, but come on, it was all women. The first time in WWE's history, the first last woman standing match and everything. Yes, TNA did both of those things first. But come on, like I said, you couldn't have got any of this. Okay? What really were you expecting? What really were you expecting out of all of this? You got the women you wanted. They were all on the show. You got good matches with the talent that you want. But a lot of people, and I've said this before, it's like they wanted it to be like a bunch of dream matches with old people, with like the old divas. They probably wanted like Nia versus Beth Phoenix. They probably wanted Sasha versus Trish, like I've said before. They probably wanted, I don't know, Lita versus Becky Lynch and things like that. But I'm like, at the same time, these are the same people that do two things: complain about the length of the shows, and number two, complain about part-timers coming in taking spots. So both of those things would have happened if it was just a bunch of singles matches and not a somewhat shoehorned battle royal, even though there was something on the line in the battle royal. So you would have had 10 singles matches, and you want, like I said, you can't just be like a 5 minute squash. Y'all want like tons of work rate. Y'all want tons of spots. Y'all want these women to flesh out their move sets and things like that. So think about that. So you make 10 matches. If it was, like I said, 10 matches, 15 minutes each. Think about it. The show is going to go on and on and on, and then you complain about that anyway. But it's okay if these part-timers are women because this is a special event. And it's okay if it's super long matches because this is a special event, because you're getting dream matches. I'm just like, I don't understand this. Make up your mind, folks. Please. You can't have it both ways. Said that before too. And I will keep saying it until you understand these things. Now, I'm not talking to you in my audience. Y'all know who the people I'm talking about. Because I know a lot of you agree with me when it comes to things like this. Let's be honest here. It's just a lot of convoluted IWC logic and a bunch of hypocrisy. That's 100% all that it is. And a lot of people will sit there and they will get on their high horse about wanting these big matches, but at the same time don't want the part-timers to get into things. But it's okay if the part-timers come in to put over my guy or girl. It's all right if you're having super long matches, as long as the matches are super long and good. If it leaves and the pay-per-view gets longer, that's fine, as long as I got quality matches. What? Come again? Like I said, you can't have it all ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it 3 ways. You just can't. Maybe you can, but you're not going to have it here, not in this company. At least not in the WWE, you're not. Like I said, you can think it could have been better if you had booked it a different way or things like that. But again, you could have never had this in the first place. Whether you want to admit it or not, yeah, this was kind of an evolution. Because years ago, this would have never even been thought about or even been put on the docket in the first place. And then and this is the one part, and I'll get off of evolution soon, but this bothered me too. Because we're going to transition, this is something else we're going to transition to in a second. But a lot of people are saying, well, this was just, they only really shoehorned all this into it just to promote Crown, just to, save face when it came to Crown Jewel. Okay, here we go again. See, See, again, just because you constantly say something doesn't necessarily make it true. We learned this a lot of times in politics as well, folks. I mean, if you repeat something enough times, somebody will probably actually believe, your rights are being trampled on or taken away enough times. Okay. Last time I checked, Stephanie McMahon announced the Evolution well before Baron Corbin came out there and said, announced Crown Jewel. Okay. Evolution was promoted and put together well before the mess with Crown Jewel happened. You understand me? So trust me, like I said, your arguments keep falling apart simply because you have this agenda. Your agenda proceeds to just continually have holes in it, and I don't understand how you think people don't notice it. And you don't expect people to call you out on it, but here I am to do so. You feel me? Like I said, I don't let people get away with things like that. Not on this show, they're not. Like I said, I need you people to help me hold these people accountable for it as well, because it's not going to happen on our watch. We know better. My audience is smart because they're just like their host. They're just as smart as I am. We're not stupid here, folks. We definitely aren't. And on to something that I probably have gotten too in for a while. Like I said, we're finally going to do an extended episode here, folks, because we've got a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff to talk about, so this gets long. Break it up in a couple of parts if you have to. I'm just going to record all this at once. So I'm recording this on a Wednesday. So it's both Raw and SmackDown Live have already happened. So I've got some notes here on both shows. As usual, it's not going to take very long to go over all of it. It might be a little jumbled up on the Raw end because I think I wrote them down a little backwards, but whatever. I'll try and, go through it all as much as I can remember it. But this was the first Raw we had without Roman. They opened up with a nice little, promo package for him about what he said last week. Thank you, Roman chants and Roman chants. But one thing I appreciate about that, the Raw was in my city. And that's just the thing. Southern crowds, like I said, we act accordingly. We don't hijack shows. We understand why things are done a certain way, and we act a certain way because we understand this business. Because when we were taught about wrestling, like I say, most of the time it was the 80s. We grew up watching the NWA. We respected the NWA. The wrestlers were always around us. We respected them. We respected their personal time, even when we saw them out. Heck, my mom saw a lot of the jobbers and fall guys go into her department store a lot of times. They were men and women of the people during those days. We grew up to learn how to respect this out here. And we even respect things, even some things we don't agree with. Trust me, not every single crowd down here will, act the same way. But for the most part, we're pleasant to the baby faces. We're obnoxious to the heels like we're supposed to be. And I will always respect that about us as fans. Opens up with Corbin in the ring, holding the Universal title. You gotta admit, the title does look pretty good on him. Even he says that in the promo. Heyman and Lesnar come out, talk that trash, and Strowman comes out saying, you're gonna get these hands. Baron Corbin tries to break the two of them up, pisses Braun off. Typical, just to protect Brock. I mean, Strowman power slams Corbin, 4 times, and then Brock F5 Strowman once. And then he walks off after he throws the Universal title at him. I'm shocked that I'm like, this is one of the few times you won't see a promo lead to a match because Brock don't wrestle on free TV. He can't do that anymore. 10-woman tag, leading off of I guess still playing off of Evolution. Lita, Trish, Bayley, Sasha, Natty versus the Riot Squad, Alicia Fox and Mickie James. Of course, the baby faces go over. Lita killing those Lita salts, man. I mean, she still got them nailed. She doesn't have the best looking moonsault still, but she does nail them. She does dive. Like I said, the baby faces got a lot of action in there. The heel sold for them. It is what it is. What else do I have here? There was an Elias segment, and he ends it really quickly. He tries to go back to find Baron Corbin again, sings him a little song. Then Jinder jumps him out there, and then Baron's like, oh yeah, your match is up next. So another promo technically leads to a match. Elias goes over with the drift away. Angle Snapchat promo on the fact that he's facing Ziggler in the what's it called, the World Cup. And then let me see here, Ziggler versus Apollo Crews. After Ziggler and McIntyre cut their little promos, you can tell they're going in separate ways. You know, Ziggler's focused on the tournament, McIntyre's still focused on the Universal title. They've got Drew pigeonholed and only going for the big prize, which is why he hasn't taken a pinfall yet since he's been on the main roster. So it ended up being Crews versus Ziggler. Ziggler goes over with the super kick. You know, one super kick and done. Ooh, novel idea of Young Bucks. Try it sometimes. There's a Nia and Ember promo backstage. You know, Ember talking about how everybody was chanting her name, Nia, even though Nia won the Battle Royal Evolution. And then the match happens. You know, Nia goes over after Tamina actually walks out there and gets got here distraction with a question mark behind it. She just stands there. I mean, I don't know if this is leading to the two of them teaming up, because again, we know there's some women's tag title rumors going around. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that, because women are just too territorial to want to keep teaming up. They're just too, I don't know, women wrestlers are always perceived as being more territorial. So teaming up, like I said, TNA tried that with their women, and even that was too much for them. Women are more alpha when it comes to professional wrestling. They'll only team up if it's out of necessity. But even then, eventually, you know, desire to be champion takes over as opposed to wanting to be a team. So I'm not understanding where that's going to be going. You know, I guess that's just a little bit of a teaser. Nia just goes over with a simple leg drop after the distraction. What else we got here? Rollins calls out Ambrose. Like I said, I might have missed some things here, but trust me, there wasn't much to talk about on this show. Rollins calls out Ambrose. Ambrose is actually in the crowd with zero response the entire time. And we waited a whole week to hear this. Ambrose basically said nothing. And on his way, that's actually in pretty decent heel fashion that he really didn't say much, because honestly, he really didn't have to. He was like, I don't owe you no explanation. And that's basically what his body language and face kept on saying. Of course, Seth, of course, blaming himself after what he had did 4 years ago and things like that. So decent storytelling there. And I still can't stand Seth's voice. I still can't stand it, man. It's just, when he gets like antsy and over the top and, you know, tries to show emotion, it just comes off as a crying child. It just does. And he's in his 30s, man. Man, you know, Lashley and Balor, you know, of course, Leo's out there doing his little annoying thing on the mic, but it's somewhat working for me, because it's like Bobby Lashley can't be the annoying and obnoxious heel on his own. He always worked, I mean, even when he was in TNA, when MVP was the mouthpiece of their little unit, he seems to work better when he's got a guy beside him doing things. And it's just like, he found his way on the mic in TNA, but it was in a limited fashion. And it's like, but in WWE, they want you to be way more over the top and way more personable on the mic than you should have to be. But that's why I think you need to bring the manager back. I mean, a manager, like I said, it can benefit Lashley so much better. And Leo's a wrestler. He belongs on 205, putting on decent matches. I don't know, probably getting ready to take the title from Buddy Murphy. But I don't know. It's like, I mean, he's handling his role well as Lashley's little, you know, heater. You know, bossing him around and things as the little guy. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem. I mean, it just seems like Bobby can do and deserves better. You expect so much more out of a guy that looks like that moves like that has a presence like that, but I don't know. But he runs into the same problem that you can with Drew McIntyre. He can get boring really, really quickly. I mean, he really can. No matter how much you sit there, you're just like, man, this guy's got it. But yeah, their match, the Lashley Balor match ends when Leo pushes Finn down when he was going for the coup de grace. And after the commercial break, after they beat Finn down, he goes back to the locker room. Baron Corbin says, you're in the World Cup tournament. Now he was like, Lashley just is like, I thought it was full. Who am I replacing? Turns out he's replacing John Cena. John Cena decides he's not going to Saudi Arabia, everybody. He's not going to Crown Jewel. He's one of the few people that can get to say that, though. Let's be honest. Not too many people could just flat out just say, Vince, I'm not going. Sorry, Vince, I just can't do this. Nope. Cena gets to do that. One of the few that probably can't. Heck, Kurt probably could too. But it'll be Lashley in the tournament now. They actually showed the full bracket. It'll be Rollins versus Lashley. On the Raw side, it'll be Rollins versus Lashley and Ziggler versus Angle. SmackDown Live side, it'll be The Miz versus Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. So I don't understand why they decided to do it that way. It's like you basically got Raw on one side, SmackDown on the other. We'll get to the other part of that when we get to the SmackDown show. But then the show basically ends with the Brothers in Destruction in the ring. You know, blah blah blah. They were all about to say rest in peace. Then DX music hits. Triple H comes out. You expect Shawn Michaels to come out after that. After Triple H points to the screen. Turns out Shawn Michaels is behind the Brothers of Destruction. Super kicks, hits Sweet Chin music on the Undertaker, knocks him down, runs away. Undertaker sits up, and that's pretty much the payoff going into Crown Jewel. Yeah. I mean, considering all the blabbing they've been doing on those promos, which have been pretty good the last couple of weeks, that was a pretty weak way to hit, to sell things going into that big show over there in Saudi Arabia. But, he said, honestly, pretty much a filler pay-per-view, even though this is the go-home show for Crown Jewel. I don't know, I think a lot of people were probably expecting a little bit more, with the Ambrose call-out, hoping to explain what he did, and I don't know, it's just like, with a heel turn like that, and the way they did it, the guy should have something to say. I mean, give me something here. Just say, just come out and just say, like, hey, or at least come out and say, hey, Seth, I don't have to explain nothing to you. Or be like, after what you did 4 years ago, you think I owe you an explanation for anything? I mean, geez, I don't mean to start sounding like Wade Keller cutting promos here. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, my whole point in saying all that was, give me something, dog. Give me something. But we got nothing. We got the Nia and Tamina tease. I'm just like, I mean, I thought you're just gonna stand there and not do nothing. Okay, I'll just take advantage of the distraction and win the match. Baron Corbin getting beat up with 4 power slams, and all Brock gets in is 1 F5, and he probably made his $500,000 for the night. I'm like, really? Gender still being, I don't know, fodder for everybody. Like I said, I love Elias, but like I said, I'm a fan of Gender too, and I just don't understand why he's just being used as cannon fodder on a weekly basis for nothing. Let's see here, Apollo Crews. Yeah, dog. I'm not sure what to do with that guy. I said, Titus Worldwide's obviously broken up. I mean, like, this is another case where I just simply, send the guy back down to NXT, treat it like AAA, and help send the guy down there to rebrand himself or something. But it'll just, I think Vince and those guys, even Triple H are just so stubborn. They're just like, well, we can't do that. That'll be admitting failure with the guy. We done paid him all this money. I'm just like, dude, they'll love him back down there if he just reinvents himself as something. This smiley athletic black dude thing, it's just not working, man. Like I said, the show is only as good as the characters that are on it. It's just like any television show. A lot of you people that are out there that are complaining about the show, how bad it is, y'all don't really understand the reason why it is. Your solution is to take a house fire that's going on right now and dump more gasoline on it. Like I said, these super athletic guys who are out there putting on great matches, your idea, even though that's tanking the ratings, your idea is to put more of them in there and use more of these same people. The reason the show is bad is not really because of Vince. The reason this show is bad is not because of misuse of talent. The reason the show is bad is because the talent that is having to be written for is not good in the first place. They're not being misused. They're being used. It's just that what they have to offer ain't worth writing for. And And until you see that, all your little complaining, like I said, it's just not worth it. It's not going to win. And again, a lot of you, I just wish you would understand that this show will get better when the characters get better. When you give me something to write for, it's going to be way better. But if you're not going to give me something to write for, I'm going to just give you what you want. Great wrestling with average people. Great wrestling with average characters. Because obviously that's what you want. And if you want more of that, the ratings are just going to keep sinking. It's just going to be you and your buddies hate watching forever. Because that's what you do best. Hate watch and complain. But before I get any further on that, just like I said, on the SmackDown Live, just same old same. AJ Styles opens. We got a review of the tag match last week. He calls out Daniel Bryan. AJ says the Pele kick actually was intentional. And they want to get it on right then. So Shane comes out, he makes the match right there. So we got Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship on free TV. Not at WWE Crown Jewel, because guess who else doesn't want to go to Crown Jewel? That's right, everybody's favorite vegan a-hole, Daniel Bryan. Who I actually said now, after you constantly watch that guy, Daniel Bryan's a heel, folks. He's a passive-aggressive heel. That's who he is. He ain't no babyface. And I'm just watching the match. Bryan still has a bad habit, and I see this all the time. He kicks a lot with the leg that he's supposed to be selling. But the one thing I actually noticed, he does seem to be physically back. His timing seems to be better now than when he first started. I think he's finally gotten his bumps in. I think he's back to where he was before he got hurt. But Bryan does tap to the calf crusher. So AJ goes over, then Joe comes out, ambushes both guys, and chokes them both out. So Joe goes up strong right then. So then after we come back, we've got a Jeff Hardy World Cup promo. We got a Miz World Cup promo as well. We got Paige and Charlotte backstage. Paige praises the Evolution match with Charlotte and Becky, and actually asked Charlotte to be the captain of the SmackDown Live women's team for Survivor Series. Charlotte doesn't think she's right for the job. She's playing up the whole, I feel like a failure role and things like that. So you can imagine how she's feeling about that. So be it. And then what we got next here, Brothers of Destruction and DX teaser at Crown Jewel. I mean, don't they do enough of these? They promote, there's just way too many recaps and like from the other show on the other show, if that makes sense. Because they feel like because SmackDown comes after Raw, it's okay to keep recapping, things that happen on Raw on SmackDown. I think they need to get away from that until they merge the rosters back together again. And the Trick or Street fight. Yeah, y'all know they do this every year. I mean, they put some like gimmicks around the ring, pumpkins and kendo sticks for Halloween. And so this time it was Big E and Cesaro. But it was pretty cool. The New Day actually comes out as the Brood, which is hilarious. Big E's Gangrel. I believe Kofi is Ed. No, Kofi's Christian. Yeah, Kofi's Christian, and Xavier Wood is Edge. It was freaking awesome. They nailed the blood entrance and everything. And to win the match, they all spit mist in the Big Show and Cesaro's eyes. It was just hilarious. I'm just like, wow, I don't know. And they're channeling the Great Muta as well. Interesting. So I'm just like kendo sticks and pumpkins everywhere. Big E goes over with the big ending. And so Shane's backstage with the SmackDown Live World Cup participants. That's Miz, Hardy, Orton, and Mysterio. But Shane also says whoever loses to a Raw superstar in the finals is basically fired. Well, I'm like, Shane, have you looked at the bracket? I mean, it's going to be a Raw superstar versus a SmackDown Live superstar. The match, like I said, the rosters, the bracket isn't like random. You got Raw on one side, SmackDown on the other. I'm like, Shane, did you not pay attention? So technically he's saying, whoever, if you lose the finals, you're fired. You're off SmackDown Live, whatever. You're fired. And Nakamura versus R-Truth. Dillinger was actually supposed to be fighting Nakamura in this, but Dillinger's hurt again. But what we got here? What else I got here? Styles actually is cutting a promo. no, Styles actually backstage talking to Shane says he wants, or Paige, I can't remember, says he wants Joe at Crown Jewel. And so I guess it's gonna, Joe was okay with going to Saudi Arabia, but Daniel Bryan isn't. So my whole thing with this is he's had 3 title shots, so he's going to get a 4th one. I mean, if he wins it this time, is it really going to mean anything? Because I'm like, if he loses this time, please just send Joe back to the Indies or something. Because like I said, if all he's good is for chasing AJ and talking about his wife, it's not going to mean much anymore, folks. Let's see here. Oh, there were true TV chants during the Nakamura's, R-Truth match and things like that. Knock goes over with the Kinshasa, Becky Lynch in the ring. Still, nothing's changed about this woman, man. She's, like I said, she has a different tone to her voice and she scowls. But you people still refuse to boo her, even though she's exhibiting deplorable behavior. Probably says more about you than you realize, but whatever. And of course, she officially calls out Ronda Rousey for a match at Survivor Series, champ versus champ. I guess they're going to do the Raw versus SmackDown thing again. My whole thing with that match is this: if it's not a submissions match between those 2 women, I don't really care about it. I mean, because they're both known for armbar submissions, basically. If it's not a submissions match, straight up, what's the point? Because honestly, you'd like to see both of them stretch out their submission repertoire and make it mean something when one of them finally taps the other. You want to see it happen. I know somebody actually, this might be a good spot for Charlotte to actually help Becky, and hopefully all 8 of the horsewomen will be in attendance at that match, and maybe I'll finally maybe that'll actually help set up a match that I really wanted with all 8 of those women battling it out. But the main event ended up being Miz and Orton versus Ray and Jeff, with a mean-faced Joe promo during the Miz entrance, saying his same crap, talking about, I ain't done with you, AJ, and what about Wendy, and things like that. Yeah, Joe, we believe you. Yeah, your mean faces and scowling and things like that. Same old promo you've been cutting since TNA. We understand, you're mean, you're Samoa Joe, you make angry faces, I'm gonna kick your butt, blah blah blah. But the baby faces, Ray and Jeff go over with a 619 to Swanton. They go over, then Randy RKO's everybody as he should to end the show. Yeah, I've got absolutely nothing to say about SmackDown Live. And people want to talk about Raw, but seriously, the SmackDown Live show is horrible. AJ as champion just does nothing for me. I understand people are saying things like, where's Almas, where's Insanity, where are the Good Brothers and things like that, but honestly, until these people, they got to switch things up there. Like I said, when you got your women's champ just putting a scowl on her face and thinking she's a brand new person, and AJ still being a glorified transitional champ and nothing, like I said, Daniel Bryan not even want to travel for his brand or anything like that. That SmackDown brand's in trouble right now. I'd be shocked if these rosters weren't re-merged at the beginning of 2019. Like I said, that SmackDown brand is in way more trouble than people realize, man. They've been ravaged by injuries. I don't know, there's some malcontents over there. You can tell Shelton Benjamin really is a little disenfranchised with how the show's been going for him and things like that. I don't know. We know they need better writing. We know this, but people want to keep putting SmackDown over more than Raw, considering the ratings. But that SmackDown brand's in trouble outside of Miz. I mean, it really is. Outside of the Miz and maybe the New Day, it's. I don't know. There's a problem there. I don't know, because Shane has lost his edge too. Because even he, as an authority figure, I don't know. It's just not working for me. It really isn't. But yeah, that's both shows, man. I know we're just at a crossroads right now, and like I said, these marks can get on here and they can put over NXT and 205 Live and the Mae Young Classic and things like that all they want to, but like I said, I don't really care about stuff that's not on TV, man. You should care more about, like I said, if I'm going to be a wrestler, I want to be on television. I want to be noticed on a weekly basis, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I am. So say what you will about Impact, it somehow managed to keep itself on TV in some way, shape, or form. So if I'm not going to be working at one, I'm going to be working at the other. Trying to keep my face and my, my name out there in some way, shape, or form, man. But there's problems right now, man. I don't know that, but like I said, my podcast isn't monetized. Like I said, I am under no obligation to keep watching the WWE. Honestly, I'm gonna probably start talking about some of the other shows because I still enjoy Lucha Underground. And Ultima Lucha Quattro actually starts tonight as I'm recording this, and I'm probably gonna start talking about that a little bit more. I'm under no obligation to keep watching the WWE because I'm not getting paid for it. Because I'm not gonna get to that point where I hate watch this. Like I said, I still enjoy it because like I said, only reason I feel obligated is because I feel loyal to it, because they absorbed the legacy of the company that raised me. They absorbed the legacy of the NWA and WCW. And that means a lot to me as a, as a fan. Like I said, that's what brought me into this. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I know why it's bad. And I know that injecting more of the same isn't gonna help. That's the difference between me and those other shows. They want to inject more of the same. Okay, I actually want to improve it by being more traditional, by getting back to what happened, what made the ratings better, what drew more people in. Therein lies the difference between all of us. And that's where you're going to get the honesty here as opposed to the dishonesty over there. Say whatever you want. Keep putting over your indie shows. Keep putting over those shows that are on the network who aren't playing the traditional role as they should. Who aren't putting talent in the spots they should be. You got these glorified cruiserweights taking down super heavyweights with one move and things like that. Nobody's buying this stuff when they're watching it. Get that through your heads. Until you see what I'm seeing, you're not gonna understand things. And the show isn't gonna get better by injecting more of the same. Just because you're enjoying the flip flop and flying doesn't mean everybody else is, and the ratings keep showing it. But you want to blame it on people like me who want to see things go back to the way they were, when it was actually good, when people actually cared, when it actually moved the needle mainstream. I'm not going to sit here. You're not going to make me. I'm not going to be the villain. I'm not. When I understand and you don't. It's not going to happen. And you're not going to make me feel guilty about that. And that's the honest to goodness truth. That's as the buckle turns for this week, everybody. A little bit late upload, I should say, for this week. But anyway, like I said, didn't get a chance to tweet out or anything or let you know on Facebook there wasn't going to be an episode Saturday, but duty calls in family life and things like that. So things happen. But I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit more extended episode than I normally do, but there were a lot of things to talk about. And when time goes by like this, when I haven't had a chance to record as often as I can, I'll try and do more extended episodes. So until then, everybody, like I said, give a like, subscribe, share, follow on all platforms. Remember, a new episode drops, like I always say, every Saturday, unless I say otherwise. So make sure you're following me on social media. So till then, this is Adrian. This is Buckle Turns. See you next time.